Yo, everybody. What is up? Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Sunday. It is time for another live stream, surprise live stream for Sunday. I think I might just move to a couple live streams per week. Greetings from Menlo Park, Eric. What's up, Jason? Anyways, trying to get my wheels up here. There we go. Anyways, there we go. That's better. Pull this in, get this like this, get this like that. Okay, cool. What's up, Charles? Good to see you, brother. Okay, yeah. So anyways, thought I would do a surprise live stream today on Sunday. I might just start, like I said, I might just start doing these on Sunday just to give another, it's just a good way for me to keep in contact with you guys, keep in touch with everybody. As you know, from sort of what's been happening recently, I am going to, there's some changes happening. I am far too busy to make YouTube my career. And quite honestly, the more YouTube goes on and the more I just see what's happening on YouTube, the more ridiculous it is. I simply can't join the masses of other people begging for clickbait. It's just and putting themselves for sale. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's fine for most people, but not for me. And so I did it at first, and I experimented with some clickbait and things like that, and it works. And I just don't feel like doing it any longer. Plus, the sales part of the business is absolutely off the chain. I'm shipping every single freaking day. And it's taken all my time, which is part of the reason why, in case people are wondering, like why I haven't done the MoFi killer. I have them in the other room. I can't spend any time developing them. And not only that, but it makes no sense for me to do something where I need to oversee logistics of manufacture. And then just deal with all the shipping and everything that goes along with manufacturing a product. It's why do it if I don't need to? There's no reason for me to go into something harder than what I'm doing right now. And so that's why I haven't brought you those items. But in a wonderful way, I'm working closer with people to build their systems. You saw John Greeny last week, which was he was really a great feedback. And I have clients like him that are backed up. I've got a list here of I think I'm at seven systems I'll be working on. 7 different people, 7 different audio rigs. It's like it's working. People are using me to set up their rig. They buy 1 or 2 things. They realize I've recommended them things that totally over deliver. And I haven't made a big deal about it. And then they come back and they want a whole freaking system. And so I've been doing that, and that's good. It's been developing more and more. And so that's what I will continue to do. Am I? Yes, Wes, I am, brother. I am here right now. It's cool if you just do 1 or 2 live streams a week and nothing else. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, live stream is more, it's more apropos for me, for my style. My channel is not for sale. I don't review just because when you review stuff, you have to give them props. You can't review if they're paying you, right? Or they're sending you free stuff. You just got to say good stuff. And it's not my style. My style is I'm not for sale. I don't need to be. So anyways, yes, I could just do 1 or 2 live streams. I have some ideas of of things that I'll be doing that I'm not going to mention. You guys will be stoked about. Forget being a manufacturer, too-time consuming, too much hassle. Yes, absolutely. It is far too much of a hassle. I have done that before. Remember, I owned an amplifier manufacturer. I know how to do it. You know, I can make products and run them and make, you know, I know what products to make. I've been doing hi-fi long enough that I know products that I could make that would fly, you know, and I do that. But too much involved when I'm busy selling, you know, great stuff that other people make. And then they take care of the warranty and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's worked a lot better. If you guys want to ask questions, feel free to fire away. That's kind of what the let me turn that, put this down so I can be there. We go. That's better. It's kind of like the idea of these live streams are so that you guys can ask me questions that you might ask me when you call. You can ask me my opinions on things where I can give you just, you know, anything you might want to know that you feel, oh, I don't want to bother Mikey by calling him or whatever. You can just ask me here. And so that's what this will be a good spot for. When does Grandinode Integrated showing up? It will be shortly after Munich. The thing is, here's how I work with the products that I carry. If I wanted, and if I was like most other dealers, what I would do is just chock my website full of hundreds of products, because I would be trying to give the image of being a big dealer, right? I'd be trying to play the game and pretend, right? So I'd put 100 different brands on my site and all this stuff and try and dragnet stuff, but you know, dragnet sales. But when you do that, you're not doing your brands any service, because how are you going to? All you're doing is sitting there like an order taker. Which the more you guys know me, the more you guys have been guys and gals have been watching my channel. You understand that's not my style. I'm not the typical dealer. I don't just dragnet try and take all the orders for Macintosh, Sonos, Focal, all that shit that I could just get, and then the orders would come in because those brands sell themselves. I hand choose my brands. I hand choose them, and I bring them in to my assessment, which is where they come into my demo room, and I listen to them, and I don't talk about them typically. I might give you a little teaser here and there, but I won't talk about them. Like you noticed, I haven't talked about Donizetti, the big solid state amp that I'm using right now. I haven't really talked about the 570 Fishers because I'm letting them break in. I'm letting them break in. It's going to be a couple, at least a month, and I'm getting closer. They're breaking in. You heard a little sample today in one of my videos where I was playing Lakeside, Fantastic Voyage. And man, I mean, the system is so punchy right now. It's just, it gives me such good, positive, not hope, but belief, I guess, that the 1000.1s that I've bought will finally be able to uproot my my big system. Again, my big system is of panels. It was done for a reason. That big system was done to give a reference of what's possible, because it's one of the best that anybody's ever. I mean, most people that come and listen say, "I've never heard anything like this." It goes further than any system I've ever experienced. And that was my intent, was to, how far can I take it? But I can't sell it, as you know, because it was a lot of custom things, custom made. In order to make it perform that well, I had to custom implement many things. I need something that, and what happened was people will come listen and then they want it. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't do this to you. You know, I wouldn't. There's too many custom things in here for us to reproduce and then put in your room. And, you know, then when it comes time for you to sell it, it's like a custom thing that, you know, and it's not turnkey. It's like, you know, there's a lot of setup involved. So I wouldn't do that, you know. So the next system will be with what's going on right now with the Fisher and Fishers. I have amazing positivity that the 1000.1s will uproot the rig, the big rig, and the room's going to look way different. I'm going to clear out all the extraneous stuff that I have in the room. It's going to be a very simple system. You'll be able to look at it and know exactly what I'm using instead of looking at a whole bunch of stuff and trying to guess which is Mikey using right now, you know, because that is kind of hard to do when you look at my rig. What are my views on power conditioners? I don't like them. Companies like AudioNote forbid their use in their system as they say the power conditioners choke the dynamics of sound. Okay, so power conditioners that have transformers inside them do clamp dynamics. They choke off dynamics because that transformer holds the juice, if you will. And then when you hit hard and you need to draw a lot of current, it taps it out. And then it's got no more. Think of it as a battery. You just cooked the battery. And then there's no more juice to give because you sucked it all out. You drained it all out. And then you get a clamping of dynamics. The Puritan Audio 156 is what I sell. I've actually got to ship 3 more of them tomorrow. Those pieces are non-current limiting. They have no transformer inside. You can put your amps on them, your front end components. You can put whatever on those pieces, the 156, and they will not tap out. You can. So AudioNote is only talking about transformer-based power conditioning. And in my opinion, you really shouldn't consider any other one but Puritan Audio Labs. I sell them. I normally don't like power conditioning because of what AudioNote says. This one was sent to me. My distributor just sent it to me and said, put it in your rig and just listen to it and tell me. And I put it in the rig and it never came out. So, you know, I mean, that's the story. And I've sent it. I've got probably 50 of them sold, 50 of them in the field. And out of those 50, out of that product, more than any other product, people call me back to tell me what a difference it made. Like they're tripping out like, oh my God, Mikey, I can't believe this thing did such a big job. That is a huge testament in its functionality. I mean, I get even the playback designs, man. I sell that. People love it. Like they love it to death. It's the best they've heard. But they don't call me to tell me the same as the Puritan. I don't know why. Maybe something like maybe it's because I'll bet you it's because the playback designs, they expect it to do something big, whereas the Puritan, most people aren't familiar with power conditioning. They don't expect it to do such a sonic improvement. So when it does make a sonic improvement, they're like, they can't believe it. They're like, oh my God, it worked. It's so good, you know, because they didn't expect it. So I think that's probably the difference. Wes says, what are you going to do in Germany? I'm not going to meet with clients. I'm going to meet with vendors. So I'm going to go to Fisher & Fisher. I will probably go to Italy and go to Audio Analog, probably go to Denmark and go to Nuontech. I will run around. I will go to the Munich show, although the show isn't really what's important to me. I'm not going to the show to like go into every room and talk and be you know, what should I call a gear jockey, you know? Not my job, not my desire, not my passion. The people are my passion. And so the gear, if I see something that stands out, maybe I'll show it like, oh my God, these guys need to see like this over here. But, you know, I'm not going through. It's more so for me to go to the manufacturer, see their manufacturing. I'll be doing videos there. And this is something that, again, Mikey's channel is not paid for. So I make my money from selling gear, and I make far more from selling gear than I would from people paying me for videos, right? And so I give it to you guys straight, and I'm not pitching people to pay me to go out there, pitching them to pay me to go to their factory or nothing like that. I go to the products that I believe in because I believe in them. You see, if I was for sale, I'd have to talk about products that I don't maybe necessarily like because someone paid me to do that, because I need to feed my family. So I need to take Macintosh into my room or whatever because Macintosh was giving me $5,000 or giving me a set of amps or whatever. So I would have to do that. And then that's compromising my integrity. It's compromising my beliefs. And so I've promised you guys from the beginning, I won't do that. The way that you guys support me in that, you folks support me in that, is by buying audio gear from me. And then that makes it so that I don't need to take anybody's money for advertising. A lot of these channels, as you know, they are becoming advertising channels. And you'll know because they'll say, or they need to say in the beginning, or it's illegal not to say it. They need to say, brought to you by, and sometimes they'll do it really quick. Brought to you by Yamaha, blah, 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 you know, brought to you by Marantz Audio Systems. You know, it'll be like super, blah, blah, blah. They'll say it really fast right in the beginning of the video. And then, you know, this is a paid advertisement. Whatever I hear this guy saying is just, I can throw it out the window because he's being paid to say that shit. He doesn't, you know, you're never going to know what the person really thinks because they're just telling you what they're paid to say. And that I can't do that. So when I go there, I will be meeting with the vendors and going to the show. I'll be eating some killer food. I'll be jumping on a train and taking a train somewhere cool. I mean, I'll be doing what you do in Europe, man. You style, you know. I believe the Puritan audio has a capacitor storage base. Is that correct? And how many farads? No, it does not have capacitors. I don't think it has capacitors at all. It might have some in there, but it's definitely not a storage. The Puritan does a great job with improving Xbox picture quality. I have heard that from many people. Many people have told me, my God, my TV got way better. And I haven't even tried it, so I'll have to try it. My TV is pretty sick in my bedroom, man. I mean, it's a 80-inch, 80 whatever, freaking OLED, like paper thin. It's pretty cool. I don't see that it needs any help. It would be one of those funny things where you put it in and you're like, wow, I didn't know I had noise until I took it out, right? It's like I didn't know I had video noise until I took it out. So that's what I've heard about the Puritan, that it's great. Sunday night, nice surprise. You know what, Rich? I think I'll just do this. Sunday night, it seems like a good half and half. Sunday, Wednesday. You know, it's kind of divides up into two. And we'll see how this grows into something. Hello from Puyallup. How the hell do you even say that? Puyallup? Pull y'all up. Anyways, I need some bookshelf speakers for my wife's art studio. How good are the Opera Prima compared to Dyne Audio Special 40? I have no idea, man. I don't listen to Dyne Audio stuff. Dyne Audio makes some pretty good drivers. How much are they? I have no idea. I don't know what happened with Dyne Audio. Is it still handmade stuff, or is it like sold to China now and they're made in China? The Opera Prima is very much made in Italy. Those are the little guys. They're pretty sweet, man. Those Opera Primas. I'll tell you what, because I'm known to do this every once in a while. I have a pair of Opera Primas here with some nice dark, I think it's like mahogany sides. It's a $2,500 speaker. $1,750. $1,750. I'll give you $750 off. $1,750 plus shipping. You got yourself some Opera Prima. First person to do it. Doesn't have to be you, Charles, but I'll throw that out there, Charles. If you want it, call me tomorrow on my phone number. You can see it at 11 Stereo. And because my client base is, most of my client base is higher up. So if I buy the inexpensive stuff, it just sits around. All I sell mostly is the more expensive stuff. So I will make you a great price on those. And they're brand spanking new. They're not even broken in, with a full warranty, and I can ship them out to you this week. So just holler. Jason says, yeah, you'll trip on how much better the TV looks. I bet. You are saying it Perfectly. Okay. Puyallup. Wisconsin in the house. What up, Andy? Good to see you, brother. Long time no see, man. Andy is a master mason. Is that what he's, man, he is a tile man extraordinaire. He is a journeyman, been doing this for a long time, and only the people that really want the best work hire Andrew. Andrew has Andy, I call him Andy. He's got some Turner and Freudel speakers, Turner and Freudel, and the amplifier is Spec Corp Class D, and the DAC is MPD8 Playback Designs, and he's digging it. Jeffrey Boyle, what's up, man? Good to see you. Puyallup. Pew? Is it Puyallup or Puyallup? Puyallup, maybe. Whatever. Dyne Audio still in Denmark. Okay, cool. That's good. Good to know. Say what's up to Stephen Wilson from Porcupine Tree. He will be at Munich with PMC and High End Society. Oh, cool. Okay. I will if I go to PMC, if I remember all that. They are for a name UT Atom that has 40 watts. Okay. That amp is collecting dust, so will that work with the name? They will. They will definitely work with the name. Absolutely. Hey, Mikey, do you sell to Canada? Yes, I do. Well, it depends what. It depends what. You let me know what you want, and I can, some of it I can sell to Canada for sure. Some of it I have to ask permission, and some of it I can't. So, how's that for an answer? Good, thanks. Right on. Nothing special about Dyne Audio except for the contour line. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. The higher up Dyne Audio was the good stuff. I haven't heard much. I don't know many people that really use it. You know, a good way to find out, people will ask me about certain brands, and you know, and it's just I have a lot of audiophile clients, and I have over the years. Okay, you got to remember, I've been doing this for, you know, 23 odd years, 25 years. And so when I talk to people, I ask them what they have, what rigs they have. And you'd be surprised at how few, you know, some brands that you may think are big audiophile brands, how few people that I know anyways, few of my customers that I talk to actually use them. One would be like Boulder, for instance. That's not something that I hear. I have 1, 2 people that use that stuff. It's funny too, is like if somebody will tell me what they have, and I just go, oh, let me guess, you bought it from the local brick and mortar dealer, right? Like someone will be like, well, I've got Macintosh amps and Focal speakers and you know, and Orlick or what were the other I can't remember the other streamer, whatever. They'll tell me, and I can tell by what's put together that it's totally a dealer system. Macintosh and Sonus Faber, totally local brick and mortar. Focal and Name, total brick and mortar. These people didn't, unfortunately, take the time to find out what works better. They just put together what was at the local dealer. So yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I don't hear about Dyne Audio. I don't really know any of my clients. I don't hear about anybody that has Dyne Audio in the real audiophile rigs, you know. And I know you're just looking for something for your wife's art studio, but these Opera Primas will kick ass, man. And $1,750 brand new with warranty. It's pretty killer. Charles says, okay, they're sold. What time your time should I call you? Call me after 9 a.m. Eastern time. And it's all yours, buddy. They're beautiful, actually. They're really pretty. And they sound killer. They got a lot of bass. They have a lot of output. You can do well. You can play them loud if you want to. And they will be great with your 40 watt amp that you have. So yeah, holler. For sub integration, I use an SPL meter to set the level for each speaker and sub to the same level. Okay. Then adjust the bass from there. Do you use a specific software or go by ear? I'm using an XO. For sub integration in terms of volume level, I totally go by ear because it's like what I like. I don't give a shit if it's balanced or not. It's like, what do I like? How do I like it to sound? Typically, the more you do this, the more you pull back on bass a little bit, and you use it kind of you want to use bass to where when you turn it up, it's not too much. You never want it to overpower. Just think in the terms of a mix, right? Because it is a mix. That's what a mix means. A mix is you're adding different levels of different instruments. That's the literal meaning of the mix. And so you're doing a mix between bass and your highs. And you want to just sort of sense the whole thing. It's like tasting a food. Is there too much salt? Is it too sweet? Is there too much sugar? It's like you have to do the same thing with the bass. Is there too much bass? How does it sound to me? Is it boom, 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 boom? I hear this all the time. Too much bass, man. It's too prolific. It's too in your face. You hear it too much. Bass should be just like, you should never hear it like separate from your speakers. When you integrate a sub, it should just sound like your main speakers have deep bass. It should never sound like, oh, those subs sound really good with those speakers. You should never be able to tell that there's a difference between your main speaker and your sub. It should just sound like your mains go really deep, and that's what it should sound like. And so, no, I always go by ear, and I can tell like that. I can go back to sit, and I know exactly too much or too little or too much bass. I go make incremental, teeny adjustment, go back, sit down, back, teeny adjustment, back, sit down. And that's how I do bass. It is very much by ear because it's personal taste. Some people like bass different than others. Some people can't stand it. You know, some people can't have it high because they're in an apartment or whatever, you know. So bass is very much a personal taste thing. And again, I go by ear. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy a full rig off you, and then I'll just stick with the budget crap. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, I sell budgets crap, if that's what you want to call it. But I've got a DAC for $2,500 that embarrasses other DACs. It really does. I don't push it too hard. It's the Nuantech DAC 07. But the people that have been buying it are taking it to their friend's house, and they're, you know, almost every audiophile has somebody that they know nearby or in their town or whatever that's an audiophile buddy that's like the rich dude, right, or whatever, and he's got the wicked big rig. It's the doctor friend that has the $500,000 system. So these guys always have a lot of extra gear and whatever, and they go over to the funnest trip. And you will know this, and I'm telling the truth. The funnest thing for a little guy to do is to blow away the big guy's mind with how good his inexpensive stuff sounds. It's like the most glory the little guy can have. Like Dave Vanucci in Wisconsin has a system that I helped put together for him. He had some Magico A3s, and I sold him some Nat Audio, the big tube amps, and together it's a magic mix. And he's got a vinyl set up, and people freak out, and they come, and then you know, sometimes you'll get, the big dudes will get a little perturbed or upset when you have something that's cheap that is as good as what they have or comes very close. It's like it's upsetting to them. So kind of funny, but I have stuff, Daniel, that is inexpensive, that you don't need to win the lottery, man. But I do appreciate that, and I hope you do win the lottery for your sake, man. You know, looking for an amp under 4K, oof, with high current output, say 100 amp peak, vintage will do. Needed for custom inefficient speakers. Got no idea. I mean, 100 amp peak, like what the fuck does that, dude? You know, I mean, Class A, you know, Plinius maybe, old Edge, old Jeff Roland, old Mark Levinson, you know, that's kind of what I would look at. You're going to have to go older. You're going to have to go older, and you're going to have to go solid state, clearly. And Class A has high current. So that's what you're looking for. Vandersteen and Prima Luna. Prima Luna is a decent brand. It's Chinese. It's made in Chinese. It's made in China. It's not that bad, but I think at the price you can do better. You know, the thing that used to be great about Chinese stuff was you could get it for a fraction of the cost of the European counterpart or the American counterpart. But in this day and age now, you've seen like these freaking, what are they? Well, PS Audio speakers. Those other ones, what are they called? Borresen. Those speakers all made in China. And they're the same price as American or German or Denmark, and you can outperform them. So Prima Luna I don't think it sounds bad, but I don't recommend it to anybody just because I don't support Chinese chi-fi. I just don't. And it's political. It goes into political reasons, right? Not to support China. And if you don't think, you know, China's up to shit, then, you know, let me ask you, why is there about to be a TikTok ban for the Chinese company? Why is the U.S. government, why is Biden signed into law that the Chinese-owned TikTok is going to be banned unless they sell it? Maybe because they know China's up to some shit. So, you know, I don't support anything from China myself. Okay. So I can't knowingly. Plus, Prima Luna's kind of a stroke job. What it is it's an American guy that put a name on a Chinese product and gave it an Italian name and then sells it. And people that really aren't paying attention would have no idea. They think it's Italian, Prima Luna, and it's got a vacuum tube. And you're going to pay, you know, $6-7 grand for that stuff? No way. So that's my feeling about that. Vandersteen, I've got no idea about. I know there's a cult following. I've never really got it. I've never gone into a Vandersteen room and been like, oh my God, I need these speakers. And that's how I judge stuff. I judge stuff like, do I want it? You know, do I want it? You know, and if I go in and I'm not, like, Legacy Audio is another one. I never wanted Legacy Audio speakers. You know, they just don't, certain things just have never floated my boat. Here's a brand that I love that I've never wanted is Pass Labs. Love Nelson, and I love the brand. I love Desmond. And I just love the guys and I love the brand, but I never wanted it. I went into a room and Pass Labs never blew me away. The old stuff I think is cool. I would collect Aleph 2, the Aleph series, just cool shit from the history, right? I mean, that stuff I collect just to have, just because it's a piece of history. I have pieces like that I won't sell, that I don't even use, and they're in my museum or whatever I call my collection, because it's like old cars, you know, or something like that. They're just pieces of history. So, but Vandersteen is supposed to be really good. I guess Richard really takes time alignment into consideration and phase coherence and all this shit. And the people that Vandersteen has a good following, but it's never tweaked. So Vandersteen and Prima Luna, it could probably sound good, but it wouldn't be on my radar. I'd see it and I would just walk past. I wouldn't really be interested in checking it out. You bet, Charles. No problem, man. Just holler tomorrow. Do I have any other manufacturers not yet represented that you'd like to drop in on when in Europe? There's some, yeah, that I won't talk about, because if I don't like them, you know, I don't want to really, then there's no sense in talking about it, because it's just like a waste of time to say, oh, I checked this thing out and I didn't like it. It's just like, why even? It's a waste of airtime, right? But I do have some very specific things, brands that I will be looking at when I go there, because as you know, I am an importer. And so I bring in things that nobody else has, and I bring in things, and not just things that nobody else has, that just things that aren't here, because there's a ton of brands out there and that aren't repped in the United States. And many of these other dealers just indiscriminately grab this crap just so they can have something different and they can have exclusive on it. And some of it just, you know, it's not, I'm very picky about what I choose. And so anyways, yeah, so there is some brands that I will check while I'm there for sure, and I will meet with. There's a brand that wants me to come to Denmark really bad. So I do want to go see New OnTech. So it'll be interesting. I've been invited to some other countries where there's other stuff. We'll see what happens. Switzerland to say hi to Mark Levinson. Mark is not in Switzerland. He is in Venice, Italy. But yeah, I might say hi to Mark if I'm out there. Venice isn't really in my plan. But I do have to go to, I don't know exactly where Audio Analog is, but if it's close to Venice, maybe. Mikey, if you had to keep a pair of speakers, would it be the Magnapan 1.7i or the Teal CS 1.6? JL Audio subs with an, I would probably keep the Magnapans. Teal is just too hard to work with, too unforgiving. As far as I know, I've never had a pair of Teal. I do know Magnapans, and I know how to set up Magnapans pretty sick. So I would stick with Magnapans personally. But on that note, I would choose Fisher and Fisher over both of those. I'm getting to know more about this brand the more I listen to them, and the more I can't believe that that they're like this under the radar. What about your thoughts on the Groundmaster City? Yeah, it works. You know, all these things are fine strokes. It's not something that's going to be night and day. If anybody else watching right now has any feedback on the Groundmaster City, feel free to to talk about that. But I know they work, and why not? If you're at the point where you've got all your gear squared away and you're at the fine stuff, you're doing the fine tuning, then yeah, get it. Frank says them 555s be fire, right? So Frank bought a pair of 555s, and Frank, you told me you're going to do a video. Remember, you're going to do a video about them or something like that. You told me or something of that nature. So Frank bought a pair of Jeff Roland 555s. He put them on his rig, and he absolutely shit his pants, didn't you? You did shit your pants, Frank. He did. He called me right away. He loved them. He was amazed. And Jeff makes sick amps. I'm telling you what, man, you guys don't know the half of it with Jeff Roland. It's not a push brand. It's an insider's brand. That's why you don't see it plastered everywhere like the brands that need to do that. He's a brand of attraction, not a brand of promotion. And so you don't see Roland stuff plastered everywhere, but it is such good stuff. And I think once the brand is no longer, that's when people will really realize, oh my God, I should have bought it while he was still around. You know, I never bought the Jeff Roland. I was always looking at him, and I never did. And now you can't find them, and all that shit. They will last 50 years. They don't break. Okay. I've sold so many damn Rolands out there, and none of them have warranty repairs. They just don't get them, so, there's that. Thoughts on Puritan Groundmaster City? Well, excuse me. What about any of the new ground plane devices? Shunyata and Synergistic, making them seem way too pricey for passive star grounding devices. Yeah, my sentiment exactly. The Puritan Groundmaster is a great alternative. It does the same shit that they're doing with theirs. They might have magic pixel powder, or whatever in their shit. And whatever, it's all ground enhancement, and Puritan is very reasonable. That 2.5K DAC is going to be my end game DAC. There you go, man. It could be. It really could. I sold all my Prima Luna gear. It was a big mistake. It had problems. I have heard that, man. I have heard that. The new OnTech DAC 07 is glorious. There you go, man. I've heard the same thing. You're not the first person that I've heard that Prima Luna has had to gone back twice. I got a guy, Gil, in New York. What's up, Gil? If you ever watch this, and Gil had Prima Luna, and it's gone back twice, man, for problems. I hear the same thing about Denafrips. It's Chinese shit, man. Chinese shit has warranty repairs. That's all there is to it. China just took satellite photos of our largest Navy base. Really? What did they bust them? Was that like one of those little balloons that were flying over? Oh, it's ridiculous. God save us, you know? Holy shit. Anyways, my new OnTech DAC 07. Look, Rich has one too. Makes even low do gear sound great. You know it, and it's great with the big stuff too. That's for sure. If I'm going to Venice, I'll have to pay a toll fee now. I saw that. I saw that. Or 5 bit more. If you're visiting, you don't have the pass, they won't let you in. That's fine. I'll give them $5. Like I give a shit. You know, I don't care. Everything is going to cost an arm and a leg once you get on that island anyways, or whatever. But Venice is Venice is a trip. I don't know if any of y'all have been to Venice, but it's like being in a movie set or on a Disney theme park. Like it is extremely hard to wrap your head around the fact that it's real shit from whenever. When was that? 1500s, 1700s? I don't even know my history to know when that shit was built. But you look at the bridge and you're like, holy shit, that's the bridge Monet painted. Like I recognize that bridge, and I recognize it because of a Monet painting. So like that, my mind couldn't wrap around. I could not. That was hard for me to grasp. Was that I was looking at a bridge that I recognized from a Monet. I'm like, that's just whacked out. What the hell, man? And you're sitting out on these most charming hotels that are like B&Bs, basically. They're personally family-owned hotels that are they were houses back in the day, right? Just these killer Venetian homes that are one next to each other on the canal. And you sit out in the sunshine on these beautiful veranda like things, and you're sipping espresso and having whatever you're having, something fantastically delicious, and the gondolas are going by, and it's how do you like, I can you tell I'm having a hard time putting it into words? It's like am I tripping right now? And I'm like imagining all this and I'm dreaming this shit, or I mean, it's just a mind melt is what it was for me. It was mind melting. It was very hard to take it all in and feel like this is real shit that is really like the actual, I don't know, man. I tripped out. It was like being in a fantasy. Remember how I talked about fantasy and reality the other day? It was full on fantasy. Even though I was in reality, I felt like I was in a dream or in fantasy. Cobblestones everywhere, these little footbridges. There's no vehicles there, so you walk everywhere. All these little tunnel, little like alleys and ways and doorways and little arched bridges that go over the canals where you walk, and little shops and oh my God, in churches, and with these, just you go inside these little churches, bro. On the outside, they look like this little door and this little thing, and you go in and it's freaking huge. You're like, oh, what the hell? Like Alice in Wonderland. Like you go in a little door and then there's this giant thing with beautiful like frescoes and whatever paintings on the ceiling, and just from, you're just like, dude, how old is this? And like, who painted this? And it just, it's mind blowing. It's just, you're in a constant state of mind blowage. And it's I want to go back just to see if it's if I have a little, because my first time was my first time. Maybe now I'm a little more used to it. So maybe I'll be able to realize it a little more, and take it as real. But it was a trip. So super cool. When you are a TAD dealer, why do you keep pushing this Fisher brand? It is not like they are a whole lot more affordable than TAD. I keep pushing everything. And I sell more than one product. So if it sounds like you'd like me to shove Tad down your throat. Is that what you want? You want me to shove Tad down your throat so you can choke on it? Doesn't sound like you can afford Fisher. Any Fisher and Fisher within the 10K range? Yeah, absolutely. They start at 3,800. I just sent somebody the $6,800 what was it? $6,800 floor standers. They were $6,800 floor standers. The SN 270s. You go on my website, 11 Stereo. You'll see them there. By the way, here is the contact me at 11 Stereo. Go to 11 Stereo. If you're gonna buy some stuff, come to me. I'll sell it to you. And just as I'm talking to you right now, that is how you will be handled. You never get stuck with anything when you buy from Mikey. I guarantee that it's going to make you absolutely happy and give you complete pleasure. Not just that it will work when it shows up. I guarantee you that you'll be overjoyed with it, blown away with it, or all your money back. No restock fees, no bullshit, no hassle with returns, no baloney. Subscribe to the channel too. If you haven't done that already, give a thumbs up. Show me that you like for me to keep making YouTubes, because without you guys showing me your support on YouTube, I don't need to do it. I don't need this for my money. And so, I need to know that you guys dig it. And so that's what the thumbs up thing and the subscription is for, being a sub. So, there are Fisher and Fisher within the 10K range, as I mentioned, and there's floor standers within the 10K range. Also Fisher and Fisher, to go back to this guy, who's trying to start something. They're for two different customers. Okay. So you sell, for two different customers. And when I'm talking to you guys, most of my TAD customers are not, they're not going to sit on the computer and sit in front of YouTube. That's not the typical TAD customer. It's more of a customer who has less money than the bigger money guys. Don't sit on YouTube. Have Frank come on now. Okay, Frank, you want to come on? You can come on, buddy. I know it's like a last minute thing, but if you want to come on and talk about your Rolands, that would be fine. You can do it, man. You don't have to, but love to have you. Hey, Mikey, big shout out from Vegas. Oh, Head, what's up, man? Long time no talk to you, dude. I haven't seen you in a long time, man. Headley's dad was a musician, man, back in the day. And I can't remember where, man. Was it like, I want to say Detroit or like New York or something like that. Like your dad was like a legit jazz guy, wasn't he? If I remember correctly. Trying to remember. Anyways. Hey peeps, what up, Rachel? How you doing? Good to see you or not see you. Good to read you. Stay in Via Ordino in Quarto di Altino, just outside Venice. So nice. Okay. Cool. That sounds nice. There's a cool island. Mark's actually has his boat across on an island. And then there's Burano and Murano. And man, it was I got so lucky when I went there last time, dude. I had a personal tour guide that's a guy that grew up in Venice, and he's a boat maker. Him and this old man, and they made these cool boats. So we were in these little teeny motor boats. Nobody in the canals had the motor boats, man. Everybody's got gondolas, but the gondolas stop at night. And the gondolas can't go under where the water, when the tide comes up, and the and certain areas of certain canals, they're not tall enough. The bridges aren't tall enough for a gondola to go underneath. But this little motorboat was like, shit, this far out of the water, and you could go around every little nook and cranny of the canals way to the far where the locals went. He took us to eat at places that were not tourists in Venice. Imagine that. We'd have to go back into these like way back. And I remember ducking our heads, man, sometime because the little bridge was so close, It was great. So, yeah, man. Funny thing is, not only are the ground planes from Nordosh, Shinyata, and Synergistic claiming that they are the shit for, of course they are for $3,000, but they then have levels of ground cables for another 3,000. It's complete strokery, man. I mean, you know, ask me how I've managed to keep my head in this game and have hope for it with all the dildo shit like what you just described. All the ridiculous dildosity is what I called it. It's like audacity, right? But it's dildo-ish, so it's dildosity. All the dildosity that is in this freaking industry, it makes me want to hurl, and it's ridiculous. It's just like, how do I deal with this year after year? But it's you guys that keep me in this. You guys give me your support, and the feedback I get from people like Greeny or whoever that you know, and Frank, who just came on here, people that just are, I alter their freaking life, man. Well, the music really alters their life. It's not me, and it's not the gear, it's the music. But I'm the guy that facilitates the system that makes the music, and it improves their lifestyle. And for me, that is like that is how I get my what do you call it? Like your satisfaction or your get back. You know, when after you hit a certain age, you have to start feel like you're giving to people. Because in our young age, we're just selfish little bastards. At least I was. And we're just trying to grab the cash with both hands and make a stash, as Pink Floyd said. It's just a selfish pursuit, you know, kick everybody on the way up, you know, and crawl. But I was miserable back then. Anyways, whatever. One day we grow up and we want to give back. And so that's really where I find my light with this whole thing is creating systems where people are like, man, I've been doing this for so long. I've never felt like I'm getting my money's worth until I met you and until I got my stuff. Now I'm getting my money's worth with hi-fi. And typically, like we're reading right here, that's the kind of shit that's pulled. You're going to spend a bunch of dough out through your nose, and then is it going to be any better? No. But guess what? You can tell people that you have $3,000 ground cables. It's just a sick neurosis. You know, it is many times, I think, a neuroses. You know, it's something wrong. It's preying on and trust me, the people that sell it, we know how to sell it. I know how to sell. I know how to create something and get you all drooly over it. And I know the words to use. I know. And it's just, I can't do it, man. It's manipulation. It's too underhanded. You know, I'd rather just sell you good shit at full manufacturer's price that is worth full manufacturer's price, you know, not half price. How come you don't rave about Dolly speakers? They get some good ratings. People say they're very musical. What I thought would be up in my street. I don't know, man. It's like, you know, you have to draw the line somewhere. And I think Dolly is like a budget brand, right? It would be like Opera, as far as I know. So, and Opera is a terrific brand as well, made in Italy. I think Dolly's made in Italy too, right? Spain, that's where Dolly was from. But you know, so I don't know. I have to pick. What I do, so that you know, is I have a certain brand that represents a certain thing. Okay. TAD is my reference speaker brand. It's the one that is the premium price, that there's no value. People aren't looking for value when they buy TAD. And TAD is not trying to present a value, okay? That's just not what you're after. You're after the top of the top. You're after the Bugatti, you know, so you spend the money for it. That's the same with TAD, okay? Fisher & Fisher is right smack in the middle, and then like Opera is a strong value, you know, and I think Dolly would be a strong value too. So I'm not going to have more than one strong value speaker. I'm going to have one speaker that represents that segment. And they kind of look similar too. And then Fisher & Fisher will represent kind of the Goldilocks, or like the where you get the most for your money. It's going to be a little bit more, maybe twice what the Dolly or what the Opera would be, but it is going to deliver a finer result. And then, you know, TAD, even finer yet, but it's a total premium, you know, so it's a different buyer. And I'm not going to have 5 things and, in one area, because how am I going to properly represent what I really believe in? You know, there's no loyalty if you have a whole bunch of different brands. Then you're not being loyal to any of them. You're just sort of cheating, you know, with all of them. You know, so hope you enjoy your Euro trip. Any recommendation on streamers up to 8K? Yes, I like the M Labs NS1 for $4,500. That is my choice, and I do sell it. So if you want one, let me know. I'm happy to sell it to you. Guy was talking about his wife bookshelf speakers, probably get some Dolly then. The guy talking about his bookshelf speakers is buying the, I mean, did you not hear him say they're sold? He's buying the operas. Okay. What do you fucking sell, Dolly? Holy shit. He's getting opera, bro. He's getting opera tomorrow from me. Leave it alone. AGD was hot last year, but is rarely mentioned now. What happened? Did you change your view of the amp and the brand? No, not at all. AGD, didn't it get like product of the year by Jay-Z Augie or something like that? You know, they got going, man. They're moving along at a strong clip. You know, when I met AGD, they hadn't sold one amplifier, and I came on to help them get known in the industry, and I think I did my job. I wasn't paid for it. I was just promoting a brand that I liked. And that's all, you know. I still like the brand. I still love the brand. Those little Audions in the polished, still some of my favorite amps. That would be, well, like one of my top 5 coolest amps I think I've ever owned. I love them. They're so cool. And they have certain characteristics about them that nothing else does. But again, AGD is a certain buyer. You buy AGD for a certain reason, and I know how to find who's the AGD buyers. And, you know, and just because I'm not talking about them on my channel doesn't mean I'm not selling them. Okay. It just means I'm not talking about them, you know, or I haven't talked about them recently. And, yeah. Anyways, what and I'll tell you a little bit more too. I can go a little bit further. AGD sells on their own. Okay. So they sell direct. They are the only brand that I know of in hi-fi that sells direct and sells through dealers. So when they sell direct, they're doing their own marketing. They're taking their own sales. My job at that point isn't to promote the brand, because they're doing it and they're selling. And so when I have something like, say, Fisher and Fisher, my job is promote the brand, because I'm importing them into the United States. So my job becomes promote that shit, right? Soon enough, you guys will understand, and some of you are, in little by little, you guys are being drip fed, that if I put my name on it, it is at 10, it's at 11. That's why I call my company 11 Stereo, because it goes to 11. Every piece that I choose, every brand that I choose goes to 11. So I promote the brands where that is my position to promote it. But if somebody's going to sell direct, I'm not that you know, it's a different sort of it's a very rare that a manufacturer sells direct and then sells through dealers. So typically it's one or the other. So take that for whatever it's worth. What amp would you pair up with the $2,500 DAC? I would pair up the $4,000 Jeff Roland. If that is too much for you, I'd have to see what I'd have to see. I've got some Simon Audio Lab. I've got some other, I don't have something that I sell every day to go with the $2,500 DAC. That is less than the Jeff Roland at 4K, the 125. I have some pieces right now from Simon that I could sell for like $2,500 that are solid state power amps, little guys that actually kind of fit that piece. And I'll talk about them sometime, but it's just, I have a couple of those. So yeah, I mean, look, if you want something, Daniel, you just come to me when the time comes. Thoughts on the first watt amps, F8, SIT3, etc. Super cool design. If anybody, whoever doesn't know what First Watt amp company is, First Watt is Nelson Pass's company. Now, this is not Pass Labs. Pass Labs is Pass Labs. Nelson is, the final say, but Desmond runs Pass Labs. Nelson has moved on and created First Watt, which is Nelson's baby. This is where Nelson can do whatever the hell he wants and the designs that he wants. And Nelson is a purist, and he has a very certain design philosophy that he sticks by. And that's what First Watt are, things that he's created. They're very simple. They're purist approaches. They have like single transistors in their output stage and things like that. Just very, very purist, simple and elegant and beautiful pieces. I have not spent much time, even though I do have a SIT3 that Nelson made for me out of his private stash. And I don't even use it, but I keep it because I kind of cherish it a little bit. Nelson made it for me, man. And he was out of those parts, but he had a proprietor's reserve and he made one specially for me. So I value it because it was a gesture of, coolness or whatever you want to call it. So, but I have a customer that uses them that really likes them. There's certain speakers that the SIT3 or that Nelson's First Watt stuff work really well with. Typically, they're very efficient speakers, single driver speakers that work well with the First Watt stuff. But First Watt, very simple, very elegant, and not very much money. So if you guys have not seen First Watt, go to First Watt. I think it's just firstwatt.com, or you can just Google First Watt amplifiers, and then you'll find them. And go look at Nelson's stuff. They're pretty cool. I like them. Mike, talking about curating great values, are you putting together any complete guaranteed satisfaction systems yet? For example, can you tell us what you can pair up complete for 40K or 50K all in? Yeah, I mean, it would sort of vary a little bit, depending what kind of listening you do would be how I would curate the rig. So, certain people, I may curate something that is low wattage tube, with single driver, or I might curate something that was like a box speaker, punchy with solid state that can really deliver. Like, for instance, you, Jason, I know that you like to entertain. You like to play house music. You like to play it loud and have guests over. So that's a very particular system. Fisher & Fisher would dominate at that. And solid state, I'd sell you audio analog and Fisher & Fisher. So the Fisher & Fishers that I have right now that I'm listening to in my room that you just heard on my last video are 25 grand. The amp is 14. So that's, let's say 40. Okay, we'll say it's 15 for the sake of doing math. That's 40. And then the playback designs is, we could put in an MPD6, so that's 55. If we didn't do that, we could put in the $5,500. So let's see. So that's 40, 45. So for 50 grand, we could do that with an audio analog amplifier and a MLab streamer, and we could put that. So it'd be MLabs NS1 NS1 streamer, audio analog AA dack. We could do the 570s like I have right now, and the $15,000, or I could go lower if you wanted to get lower. We could go with a Jeff Roland 125 for $4,000, and we could go with the 470 Fisher & Fishers for $19,000. So I can custom tailor stuff to any budget, and anything I sell you guys is guaranteed. So regardless, I will tell you, like I told you, you wanted to get the Borresens, and then I think we consult. Like, this is what I do with people. So Jason and I have worked on some rigs. I sent him something that didn't work for him. He sent him back. He got a refund. Of course, keep in mind, this was what happens. when you send something back, I give you all your money back. There's no restock fee, but you do pay for any credit card fees because those are unrecoverable from me, by me. Like I can't get them back. And then any shipping charges on the way out and on the way back. So you pay shipping 2 ways and credit card fees if you paid with credit card. If you paid with a check, then you only pay for the shipping back and forth. So there are some expenses, but they're not my expenses. I don't tax you anything or for making returns. So Jason and I have been working back and forth with different things. I'm about ready to take a trade. No, you don't have a DAC trade. That's right. Jason's in line for the MPD8s coming out. There's 7 of them. I'm looking at a list right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 are sold already for July. And I'll probably need 3 more by the time July comes around. So I'll probably have a 10-pack this time. Anyways, so yeah. So, I mean, for anybody, I can meet 40K all in and guarantee the rig for sure. Master tile setter really should have Fisher in his rig. They're beautiful. You know what? I had a stonemason buy. I've got another guy. He's actually a stonemason. He builds outdoor brick oven, whatever, pizza ovens and like mantles and shit. Like he's a mason. That's what he does. He calls himself a bricklayer, a mason. And he bought them. Same thing. So I think Master Tile Setter ought to have some stone in your rig too. It's beautiful stuff, man. I mean, and the sonic is nuts. What it will give you over your Turner and Freudel will be more dynamic punch than what you've got going on. And as much as I love Class D, I'll tell you what, Class D gets the job done. Okay, there's nothing I can say wrong about it because it sounds really good. But what's funny is when the AGDs first came out, I sent some to one of my customers who wanted to check them out because he was curious. And I sent him out and he listened to them and he said, they're too perfect. And he sent them back. I was like, dude, it perplexed me. I didn't understand. He said, they're too good. They're too perfect. And I was like, okay. So he bought some of the big, massive tube amps, the Magma M's or the Magma New from Nat Audio. And that's what floated his boat. Now, and I didn't get it. I thought it was the goofiest thing to tell me that it was too perfect. I get it now. After this time going back and forth with top level Class D and tube amps in Class AB, my preference still lies with Class AB and vacuum tube because of the distortion. And I like that distortion. It feels good. And there's something about I like that coloration. I like that character. I don't want that perfect in nature sometimes. Now, in a multi-amp rig, I would use maybe Class D like Alberto's amps, sometimes maybe on the very top, although tubes do some special things on top too. I find Class A better on bass than Class D. A lot of people say put Class D on the bass because you get big watts, but Class D on bass is not as grippy as Class A is, man, with the big ass power supply. There's something about the damping factor on a Class A or a Class AB that just, God, it's just got this grip that I don't find the same grip from Class D. So anyways, yes, I agree. I think Master Tile Setter should have some tile in there. Jamaica. Oh, okay, cool, man. Jamaica, I didn't know that. Okay. So did he do reggae or ska or what? So I love me some jerk chicken, bro, for sure. I love Jamaican food. I have some close by. We get rice and peas. Aki and saltfish, man. Hey, Mikey, I'm still in Philippines, heading home at the end of the week. Oh, my God, you must be spent, dude. Yeah. I'm not even going to go into it. Rachel, is it Rachel or Rochelle? Rachel or Rochelle? I don't know. You are welcome. Osio, Shane. Hope everyone's good. Yeah, man. Hope you're good, buddy. You got to be tired out from all the extracurriculars. Just received an upgrade of my Aesthetics Romulus to the Eclipse version. Quite wonderful, not cheap. Use as a disc player and DAC for streaming. Yeah, I mean, with all these upgrades, sometimes I'm like, man, you could have just gone to a playback. You know, I've got a Romulus, by the way. I just got it back from somebody. He's trading it in on a Playback Designs. I sold him this Romulus. I've got a Romulus by Aesthetics. I sold it brand new. It's a couple years old, maybe 3 years old, 4 years old. Excellent DAC. And I can sell it $4,500. And this thing is beautiful. It's got a volume control on it. It's this big. It's massive. It's heavy. It's got tubes in it. It's sweet, man. Anyways, so I've got one of those. It's a hell of a piece, man. And Aesthetics is really good stuff. I definitely support the brand. You don't get a hi-fi shop sell anyone. You don't keep all your eggs in one basket. I think that's what you meant to say. You don't get a hi-fi shop sell anyone. You don't keep all your eggs in one basket, I think is what you meant to say. Yeah, I don't quite understand that. Hey, Daniel. What do I think of the reissue of the Musical Fidelity A1? I've got no idea. I don't pay attention to Musical Fidelity. I think it's probably a decent product. I just don't know anything about it. It's not really in my scope. I look at Musical Fidelity kind of like I look at PS Audio. It's like that. It's kind of I don't mean to be rude by calling it mid-fi, but it's not the real exotic stuff. It's not the real special kind of stuff. I think it's high volume stuff. So high volume stuff, typically not really that intrigued by. But that being said, look, I started with high volume stuff. I started buying things that were not the exotics. I started with a freaking Denon receiver. Okay, that's how I started. Denon receiver, 3900 or 3800 or 3910 or whatever it was. That's kind of was my first purchase. And then I got I just remember all my early stuff. I had Wharfdale speakers in the beginning, and it was so it doesn't mean it can't be good. I just don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. I lived in Italy for 2 years. Best time ever. Murano is cool, isn't it? Those little pretty little painted buildings, man. And talk about small channels. Like we went into the little channel over there, man. Little. It's like you need a freaking canoe to go through some of those channels over there. Headley Sr. built Studio One, where Bob Marley recorded his first hit, and the world's first solid body electric guitar before Les Paul. You're kidding. That's pretty cool, man. What was that called? Tough Gong back then? Or was it called something else? Wasn't it called oh shit. No, it wasn't Tough Gong. It was something with an S. I want to say Shanti Records or something like that. Like, or let me see. You tell me, Head. Tell me what it is, man. And what do you do? Are you an entertainer out in Vegas? Are you a musician? Absolutely, Mike. I couldn't agree more with the giving back statement, right? At one point we just we can't just be in our own pursuit anymore. Will a bigger driver be more dynamic than a smaller one? No, not necessarily. Or is it dependent on the cabinet size and design? Trying to get a good sound in a small room. Not sure if you have anything like that. Okay, so when we talk about dynamic, we're talking about 0 to 60 time. Okay, we're talking about pow, like the thing that just pow out of nowhere. That punch. It's punch and dynamic are the same thing. It doesn't mean volume, like overall volume is not dynamic, and it doesn't mean it's associated with speed, but speed is kind of a different thing. Dynamic is just how well it can go from something little to something really big. Drum kick is really a good test of dynamic. Drums are great for dynamic. Sometimes piano hits can be good to hear more subtle excellence in dynamic. Dynamic is something that you get from the amp and speaker combination. So a speaker can't do dynamic on its own. A speaker needs a properly matched amplifier to be dynamic. A shitty design speaker, of course, may not be able to do it well. But a well-designed speaker and a well-designed amp that can control that driver well, and something where, like in the cabinet, like you ask about, if the cabinet does not take up energy, that means the energy goes into the room as sound. With wood or MDF, you soak up some of that vibrational energy that's in the speaker. It gets soaked up, so it doesn't come out into the room as efficiently. A wood or MDF speaker is less efficient at converting that movement into sound waves. Okay, when you use stone, glass, concrete, steel, maybe aluminum, depending on how dead it is or how inert it is, you get a better transfer of that wave launches better. You just get more dynamic punch into the room. So yeah, the cabinet design does have a lot to do with it. And the amplifier matched to that speaker has a lot to do with that. Typically, you want an amp with a big-ass power supply, something that can deliver power, and then you can get some kick-ass dynamic. So there you go. Hey, from Australia. What's up, man? How do you think the biggest TAD speakers would do compared to your big rig? I have no idea, man. I've thought about it, I've thought about it. I've thought about it. I don't know, man. I think they're a little bit different. I don't know if they could image as big. Maybe they would. I have no idea, man. I'd have to have them. I will be getting some, the top of the line Fisher & Fishers, which are 650 pounds a piece, and they're only 80 grand. So they're half the price of the big TADs. But it would be great to put them up against each other and listen. But I'm not going to go buy the TADs. Maybe TAD would send them down, but why would they send them down for me to compare them to Fisher & Fishers? What if the Fishers, were as good? I don't know that they would be. TAD, the thing about TAD is that TAD has a very refined house sound that no other speaker does. The Fisher is very transparent, okay? It still retains musicality, but it is the TAD has this more of this silky sweetness on top that no other speaker can do, because of that dual concentric, that coax driver that they have is something that's unique. Nothing else does it. So it is a certain flavor, right? And you have to sort of be after that. But I like it. It's very beautiful. Dildosity, how would you describe the sound of $2,500 DAC you offer? Musical, I don't know. Whoever's watching that has the what would you say? I mean, it's less like it's organic and natural. It's got the most extension and layering and detail while not being sharp. That's what it has. It has that other DACs don't have. Every $2,500 DAC you're going to hear, even Denafrip's Terminator for $6,000 is going to be too sharp. Cheap DACs are sharp sounding, period. That's like the most common thing. This one is not. It will put you in touch with the music and you will be like, holy crap. I'm telling you, at some point, you just need to trust me and buy the thing. This is going to blow your mind. It's just for the money. It does what the Playback Designs does for $24,000. It reaches out and has total definition, but is totally organic in nature. So it beats the Terminator. That's funny that your next thing. It beats the Terminator. I've got two people now that have had Terminator and the Terminator Plus or whatever, and one had the original Terminator. Both said totally better, without a doubt, hands down. They sold their Denafrips, and the Denafrips is $6,500. So that's the difference between China, and frickin' Denmark, man. China's copying other shit. They're trying to figure out, oh, what do audiophiles like? How do we market to them? Oh, we put WEMA caps. We put a whole bunch of resistors in. We put in the power supply like this. They copy. They look and they copy shit, but they don't know how to tune, okay? They just don't yet. Their stuff still is like, think about it, man. They can't, I mean, the music there, do you think you can just go and practice music? Do you think there is even street musicians allowed there? I'm just trying to point out that you can't express yourself there because it's communist or socialist, whatever the hell the actual term is for it. They control the people, and freedom of expression is not applauded. You can't, practice religion and so forth. You can't, and I don't think they celebrate people making music and practicing their own music and creating stuff. I mean, creation is not something that I think in terms of artistic expression is probably snuffed. So it would just go naturally to understand, well, how are they going to make great sounding hi-fi? With what as a reference, with what background and experience, it doesn't lay there. They're trying to make things that are competitive, and that's their deal, competition. But they just copy stuff, and then they try and make it with the parts, but it never translates. So you can get something from Denmark that is a third of the price of the Denafrips Terminator that sounds much more realistic, much more organic. And I will guarantee, how about this? I will guarantee that it absolutely kicks the shit out of your Denafrips if you have it. I will guarantee that you will be like, Mikey, it's not even a little bit better. It's a lot better. I'll guarantee that. Okay. Or your money back. Dahlia's Denmark. Their core speakers are 110K. Okay, cool. Well, I've got no reason for 110K speakers. I just don't. I've already got Tad and I've got Fisher and Fisher at 80. So 12K is the most I can spend on a full system. Okay. Well, holler when you're ready, brother. I can take care of you. Have you been looking at Borresen, Access, and XP1? Any experience with them from same part in Denmark like Nuantech? I've been looking at them at the shows. I'm waiting for the Borresen thing to calm down because right now Borresen is a fad. Okay. Yes, I went into the rooms. Yes, they sounded good. I'm not willing to take on the thing now because it's too much fanfare, right? I'm going to see if they got any staying power. I want brands that are able to stay, not fad brands that I sell to you this year, and then next year they're not the popular brand, or they're not that cool, or they go out of business, or they they change owners and then the designs change. I need to see longer legs on a company before I go with Borresen. So I'm not on board with Borresen yet. I think it's interesting. You look at their big ass speakers and I can see R&D there. It's not just like a freaking box. Some of this shit you see, like look at Goebel. I mean, what a piece of shit for $250,000. It's ridiculous. You look at it and it's just a freaking, there's nothing special about it. There's nothing that looks like deep R&D to me, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but I'm just saying from my experience in the industry, you look at Borresen, you see what you get for $250. You look at Goebel, it's like, a big shit for $250 or 250 grand. That is just my opinion, man. That's my opinion. And so Nuantech, I'm gonna let them sit around for a while. I'm gonna see how they fare over time, which is kind of like I just want to see how they fare. Okay, save up your disability checks, man, and sign them over to Mikey. Yeah, if you want help, I'm not saying spend money you don't have, man. But if you've got the dough and you want me to help you, I can help you out at any almost any budget. And I'm getting tired. Oh, what happened? Yes, and that second and third order harmonic distortion is very pleasing to human ears. Absolutely. Rachel. I still can't tell. Is that Rochelle? Okay. I want a Roland 125, but too pricey, new. Yeah, look around for them. You might be able to find them around for maybe. Sometimes they show up for like $3,000 or something like that. What else do I have that I could sell you? I've got something for $2,500, $22,000. Simon Audio Lab. I've got something for $2,000. It's a solid state power amp made in South Korea. I know this guy. I met him from Mark Levinson. He's got a great ear. He knows how to design stuff. And so I've got 3 amps for $2,500 that are 100 watt per channel, class AB, in a compact chassis. So if you want that, Rachel, Rachel, I still can't tell. What is this? Anybody's guess? Is that Rachel? Rachel? If it's, anyways, whatever. You get my intent. My intent is to say your name correctly. I'm sitting looking at a Denon X2400. Luckily, I like music enough to be happy for the time being. There you go, man. That's all that matters. Musical Stelly A1 reissue still gets as hot as the original one. What do you mean it overheats? It's very sweet sounding, 20 watt per channel, class A. Okay, I got you. That's cool. Hey, Jack, I have the new OnTech DAC 07. I compared it to the Denafrips Terminator. The 07 is much more musical, better in every way. I gave the Terminator to a youth group in my community. There you go. Look at that, man. Studio One Records. Okay, cool. Thanks, Headley. Mikey explained the DAC 07 perfectly. Okay, cool. Thanks, Charles. Had a good time listening to Kef Reference, also with dual concentric drivers. Your thoughts on Kef and Blade? Kef is another one that I don't pay attention to, man. Not interested. It's like that. That is just such a corporate brand, corporate high volume brand. There's no way I would ever be intrigued by it. It's got nothing that interests me. I don't like corporate brands. I don't like that. They just, it's not special enough. It's too much. Everybody has them. They're not special enough. I need something more special for me to want it. You know, it's not special enough. I can say it. I've got no interest. Ex-Toronto radio DJ now doing photography in Las Vegas. Oh, cool, man. Right on. What kind of photography in Vegas? That's my question. Would I love it? I'll bet you I would love it. I actually really do like art and photography. I've got several friends, clients that are photographers. Some really kick-ass ones, actually, man. So love to see your art sometime, man. Would I say the DAC 07? Oh, Exogal Plus, or do I need to go further up the ladder? I would say DAC 07 would beat Exogal. But you'd have to tell me, man. You know, I'll send it and then you tell me. You know, I think it would, from what I remember. Hey, Mikey, can you explain damping factor? How does it relate to class A, B, or D amps and punch detail? Higher damping means better bass. Damping factor is the ability to start and stop the woofer or the driver. It's just what kind of control does it have? So the higher the damping factor for most speakers, the better. Certain single driver speakers need low damping factor, but that's the rarity. Most speakers are going to do better with high damping factor. Class A is going to be really good at that. You know, I mean, as far as I know, I don't know if it's related, you know, quite honestly. I don't know it's related. As far as I understand, A and AB are better at it than D. I don't think D is known for its damping factor, but the bottom line is you want it as high as you can get it, you know. What sonic does the ribbon tweeter provide? Extended sonic and very quick transient response. At Rochelle, there is a Roland 125 for $3K on US Audio Mart right now, if that's within your range. Seller said he bought from Mikey too. Oh, cool. Thanks for the heads up, Wong. So look at that. Ask and you shall receive. Now I guess I have to come down to $2,000 on the ones that I have. Holy shit. Yeah, so I'll come down to $2,000 on the one that I have if you want. Otherwise, that's a good price for that Roland. Got a couple of questions about the MPD-8. I referred them to you, Mikey. They're us people. They're U.S. people. couple questions. Oh, you referred them to me. Okay, did you copy me on it or something? An email? I don't see. Thoughts on Karma speakers, generally speaking, kick ass, bro. Freaking, I love those speakers, man. Karma's kick ass. Karma's a super cool company. I really dig that company. Really, guy gets design, man. That dude's a designer, like extraordinaire. Very expensive speakers. I will definitely see Karma in Munich. I will definitely be looking for that brand and going to that room. I look forward to seeing that room, and maybe I'll do a video on that room. But anyways, so that is it. I got to go, man. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I got to go. But everybody, thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody coming to the live stream. I will continue to do this live stream on Sunday night. So we will do Sunday and Wednesday nights. So thanks everybody for joining. See you.